First contact and first chaos. The Galactic Accord had encountered many strange species in its long history, but none had ever required an automatic threat level escalation before formal contact was even established. That honor belonged solely to humans. Captain Vortil of the Vraxian Empire was a seasoned diplomat, known for his patience and composure. He had mediated peace treaties between warring empires, defused planetary disputes, and once convinced a warlord to surrender by reciting poetry. He had seen it all, or so he thought. As his diplomatic vessel, the Serenity's Grace, entered Earth's orbit, he reviewed the briefings on humans, an odd, unpredictable species from a backwater planet. They had only recently begun exploring space, yet their primitive radio signals had been broadcasting for decades. Those signals were concerning. The briefings included footage of humans leaping out of flying vehicles with nothing but fabric to slow their descent, willingly consuming substances that set their insides on fire, and hurling themselves down mountains for sport. There were also references to something called Florida Man, which his analysts assured him was not a separate species, but rather a warning. Still, he was confident in his abilities. His mission was simple: initiate peaceful first contact and assess humanity's readiness to join the galactic community. And so, he stepped onto Earth's surface, accompanied by his delegation of elite Vraxian diplomats. They were met by a gathering of human leaders, officials, and one individual in a casual t-shirt that read, "First Contact Team, we have no idea what we're doing." "Greetings, humans," Vortil said, bowing slightly in accordance with standard diplomatic protocol. "On behalf of the Galactic Accord, I extend the hand of friendship." A human stepped forward, Dr. Sam Carter, Earth's designated ambassador. He had an easygoing expression and was holding a glass bottle filled with an amber liquid. "Hey man, first off, welcome to Earth. Second, let's kick this off the right way. Hold my beer." Vortil blinked. "What?" Before he could react, Sam handed his bottle to another human and extended his own hand, an oddly specific gesture. Was this a cultural test? If so, Vortil would not fail it. After a brief hesitation, he took Sam's hand in his own and shook it firmly. This seemed to please the human, who grinned. Crisis averted. Then Sam reclaimed his beer, opened another bottle, and extended it toward Vortil. "Diplomacy starts with a toast," Sam said. "Try it. It's a classic Earth tradition." Vortil's 3 hearts swelled with pride. This was exactly why he had been chosen for this mission. He had studied hundreds of cultures, learned their customs, and adapted to their ways. If drinking this beer was a crucial step in earning humanity's trust, he would do it. With ceremonial grace, he raised the bottle to his mandibles and took a sip. For a brief moment, all was well. Then his entire nervous system shut down. Vortil's vision blurred. His limbs went stiff. His exoskeleton tingled with what could only be described as biological panic. His advanced Vraxian physiology, which had withstood exposure to toxic atmospheres and alien diseases, had no defense against ethanol. He collapsed. There was screaming. Someone yelled for a medic. Someone else yelled, "Oh my God, we just killed an alien." Then chaos. The humans swarmed him, applying drastic and horrifyingly unscientific medical procedures. One pressed a pair of paddles to his chest and shouted, "Clear," before delivering a shock that made his exoskeleton rattle. Another injected a syringe of adrenaline, which should have been fatal, yet somehow restarted one of his 3 hearts. Through the haze, he heard someone say, "Dump water on him." That's what we do with drunk people. A bucket of ice water followed. Vortil's senses flickered back online. He gasped, limbs twitching, his body teetering between life and spontaneous combustion. "Oh, thank God, he's alive." A human leaned over him, concerned yet fascinated. "Dude, how much do you weigh?" That defibrillator barely budged you. Vortil's mind struggled to process what had just occurred. He had faced warlords, disasters, and galactic crises, but he had never encountered a species that accidentally assassinated a diplomat as a greeting. Still disoriented, he rasped out, "Why would you poison me?" Sam, still holding his beer, looked deeply apologetic. "Oh crap. Yeah, I should have guessed that alien biology might not handle alcohol. Our bad, man. Total accident. Another human, holding a clipboard, scribbled something down. Note for future first contacts. Check if aliens can drink beer before offering. Somewhere in orbit, the Serenity's Grace sent a distress signal back to the Galactic Accord. Emergency report. First contact with humans. Casualties. 1. Temporary. Severity. Unknown. Humans appear friendly but extremely reckless. Recommend threat level escalation. Moments later, the Galactic Council received this message. With no hesitation, they immediately raised humanity's threat level to maximum. What do you mean? That's impossible. Ambassador Dr. Sam Carter adjusted his tie and took a deep breath as he stepped into the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. It was an awe-inspiring place, an enormous chamber filled with representatives from thousands of alien civilizations, seated in elegant floating platforms arranged in a vast ring. The ceiling shimmered with a projection of the known universe, a constant reminder of the Council's domain. In the center, on a raised podium, stood High Chancellor Oryxtau, a towering, owl-like being with shimmering violet feathers. Next to him was Captain Vortil, now fully recovered from his near-death-by-beer experience. The Vraxian diplomat looked significantly more cautious than before. Sam, standing at the central podium, cleared his throat. Honored members of the Galactic Council, I am here representing Earth and humankind. We seek peaceful relations with a wider galaxy. There was a murmur across the chamber. Some representatives nodded approvingly, while others whispered in hushed tones. Then the Chancellor spoke. Before we discuss membership, we must first address concerns. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, showing a long list of flagged incidents. Sam squinted and quickly realized, oh, they had reviewed human history. We have examined your species' records, Oryxtau continued, and we are disturbed. A Tarkishan representative, a biomechanical being covered in sleek metallic plating, gestured toward the display. Your people have a history of extreme risk-taking and reckless scientific experimentation. You detonated nuclear weapons on your own planet twice. Sam winced. Yeah, that's a bit of a complicated story. A Zarkai mathematician, a floating crystalline entity, interjected. You deliberately created artificial intelligence, despite centuries of evidence that doing so could lead to existential catastrophe. To be fair, we put safeguards in place, Sam argued. Mostly, the display shifted again, now showing footage of extreme sports, stunt videos, and Florida man headlines. Vortil, still recovering from his trauma, shuddered as a clip played of a human attaching fireworks to a shopping cart and launching themselves off a rooftop. And then there is this. The Chancellor's voice carried a note of disbelief. The display zoomed in on a particular incident. A human space probe, the Voyager, had been sent beyond the solar system carrying a golden record containing information about humanity. The record included Earth's exact location. The chamber erupted in horrified shouting. They broadcasted their coordinates into deep space, a reptilian ambassador hissed. Do they not understand the concept of existential risk? A telepathic being screeched. Sam coughed. Okay, in hindsight, maybe that wasn't our best idea. The council was not reassured. Finally, the Zarkai mathematician floated forward. And then, there is your science. A new display appeared, showing recent human breakthroughs. Quantum computing, artificial gravity, the Alcubierre drive, a theoretical warp engine, still in early experimental stages. The Zarkai's voice trembled with mathematical horror. We analyzed your theories, and I must ask, how did you develop them so fast? Your species has only been industrialized for a fraction of a galactic second. Sam shrugged. We tinker, a Vortari scientist, whose species had spent 5,000 years refining their own warp theories, growled. Tinker, you are breaking math. Sam hesitated. Well, to be fair, math isn't really fixed, you know? It's just, do not finish that sentence. The entire chamber shuddered as the Vortari screamed in existential dread. The High Chancellor, rubbing his temples, silenced the room. Enough. This meeting is not to scold humanity. It is to determine whether they are fit to join the Galactic Accord. Sam straightened his posture. I understand your concerns. And yes, we've made bold choices. But we're also problem solvers. Give us a challenge, and we'll find a way to overcome it. That's not recklessness. It's adaptability. Before the Chancellor could respond, the chamber's lights flickered red. A shrill alarm blared. A hologram of a hulking alien fleet appeared in the center of the room. A trembling defense officer announced, "Emergency broadcast. A Rockthar war fleet has entered Galactic Accord space. Their flagship is targeting this station." The room fell into stunned silence. The Rockthar Dominion, an empire of brutal conquerors, was one of the most feared military forces in the galaxy. The council chambers erupted in panic. "We have no defensive fleet in range," someone shouted. "Our diplomatic station is completely vulnerable." The Chancellor's expression darkened. "We must prepare to negotiate our surrender." Sam blinked. "Wait, you guys are just giving up?" Oryxtal's feathers bristled. "The Rockthar have warships that can shatter planets. Our forces cannot stand against them." Sam exhaled and pulled out his communicator. "Give me 5 minutes." The Chancellor frowned. "For what?" Sam tapped a button. "To call Earth." A moment later, the transmission connected. A gruff voice came through. "This is General Vasquez of the UN Defense Initiative. Situation report." Sam glanced at the hologram of the Rockthar fleet. "Yeah, so we got a bit of a problem. The Galactic Council is about to get steamrolled." There was a pause. Then Vasquez said 4 words. "Hold my beer." The transmission cut. Sam turned back to the stunned council members. "Don't worry," he said with a grin. "We got this. Humanity's most powerful weapon. Sheer audacity." The Rockthar Dominion was a species of conquest. For centuries, their war fleets had burned planets, shattered empires, and ground weaker civilizations beneath their boots. The Galactic Accord, a coalition built on diplomacy, had no means to stop them. But the humans did, and their plan was, predictably, insane. Inside the Galactic Council's war room, a holographic projection of the Rockthar fleet loomed over the gathered representatives. Their flagship, a monstrous dreadnought bristling with plasma cannons, was leading the charge toward the station. The council was in full panic mode. "We must evacuate," someone cried. "It's too late," another wailed. High Chancellor Oryxtal remained silent, staring at Sam Carter with an expression that was equal parts skepticism and desperation. "Ambassador Carter," the general said, and I quote, "Hold my beer. Can you explain how that is supposed to help us survive an attack?" Sam smirked. "It means we're about to do something really, really stupid." A moment later, the UN Defense Initiative's transmission came through. General Vasquez appeared on the holoscreen, a cigar clamped between his teeth. "All right, listen up," Vasquez said. "We got the intel on the Rockthar fleet. Standard heavy shielding, reinforced hulls, planet-killer weaponry. Not exactly something we can fight toe-to-toe." A Tarketian tactician interjected. "Then what exactly is your plan?" Vasquez grinned. "Simple. We're going to drop a rock on them." Silence. "A rock?" Oryxtal repeated, confused. Vasquez puffed a cigar. "Not just any rock. A really big rock. Operation Yeet." Across the Sol system, humanity mobilized at breakneck speed. In Lunar Base Alpha, engineers repurposed asteroid mining thrusters for something they were never meant to do. In Mars orbital docks, pilots hijacked decommissioned cargo haulers and strapped them to an asteroid twice the size of Manhattan. Aboard the command center, mission control officers yelled over each other as final calculations came in. Trajectory locked. Velocity set at Mach 100. Do we even have permission to do this? Who cares? Launch. A colossal asteroid, fitted with a cluster of retrofitted nuclear propulsion drives, ignited and hurtled toward deep space. A hyper-accelerated mass of devastation aimed directly at the Rockthar flagship. The moment the asteroid launched, Vasquez leaned back in his chair, exhaled, and muttered, "Catch." The battle of absolute overkill. Back at the Galactic Council, the Rockthar fleet was advancing. Their commander, Warlord Krothox, sneered at the terrified diplomats. "You have no weapons, no fleet, no defense. Surrender or be annihilated." A Zarkai mathematician, still recovering from humanity's last stunt, muttered, "This is it. We're doomed." Then a transmission cut into the Warlord's channel. General Vasquez appeared. "Hey, buddy," he said, grinning. "Heads up. The asteroid hit. It wasn't a laser or a missile or a fleet-on-fleet engagement. It was just a giant rock, moving at impossible speed, smashing directly into the Rockthar flagship. The dreadnought's shields flared, then collapsed instantly under the sheer kinetic force. The asteroid punched straight through the ship, vaporizing its central core before continuing uninterrupted into the depths of space. There was a long, stunned silence. The rest of the Rockthar fleet, now leaderless, panicked. A warship opened fire out of reflex, hitting one of their own vessels. Confusion turned into chaos as Rockthar commanders screamed over comms, unsure of what had just happened. Before they could recover, humanity followed up with Phase 2. A squadron of human stealth drones, undetected until now, deployed EMP bombs, frying the remaining ship systems. Then came Phase 3, a recorded transmission of Vasquez's most condescending voice possible. "Hey, dumbass, you just lost a war to a space rock. Surrender, or we start throwing bigger ones." The Rockthar fleet, utterly humiliated, surrendered unconditionally. Humanity, too dangerous to be stopped. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council stood in stunned silence. The most feared conquerors in the galaxy had been utterly humiliated, and humanity had done it in less than 24 hours with a rock and some spare engines. Chancellor Oryxtal turned to Sam Carter, his feathers twitching. "Ambassador, was this a standard human military strategy?" Sam shrugged. "Honestly, we made it up this morning." The council members exchanged nervous glances. The Vortari scientist, still clutching his head from the math-breaking horrors of human science, groaned. "They must be stopped." The Tarkishan ambassador shook their head. "They cannot be stopped," a Vraxian military strategist muttered. "We spent centuries perfecting shield technology, and they just threw a rock at the problem?" Oryxtal sighed deeply and addressed the chamber. "In light of these events, I move to formally elevate humanity's threat level to maximum." The motion passed unanimously. Meanwhile, Sam checked his communicator. The humans were already celebrating. Someone was organizing a zero-G keg stand on the council station. He grinned. "You guys are going to love working with us. Welcome to the Galactic Council, you maniacs." The Galactic Council chamber was unusually quiet. Not because there was nothing to discuss. On the contrary, there was too much to process. In the past 24 hours, humanity had accidentally poisoned a Vraxian diplomat during first contact, broken multiple laws of physics in a casual scientific discussion, weaponized an asteroid with alarming efficiency, single-handedly ended a Rockthar invasion with what the Council's military analysts could only describe as an act of pure, unhinged violence. And now, against all expectations, the Council had to decide whether these lunatics should be allowed to join the Galactic Accord. High Chancellor Oryxtal, his violet feathers ruffled from sheer exhaustion, took a deep breath. "We will now vote on the matter of Earth's admission to the Galactic Accord." A tense murmur spread through the chamber. The Vortari mathematician, still pale from humanity's reckless disregard for equations, muttered, "They terrify me." "Absolutely yes." The Vraxian delegation, now forever wary of human beverages, nodded slowly. "They're unpredictable, but effective." "Yes." The Tarkishan tactician, who had spent centuries developing complex battle doctrines, groaned. "We spent millennia perfecting fleet engagements." "They threw a rock." "Yes." Votes flashed across the council's central display. Final tally, 1,472 in favor, 12 opposed. The Chancellor exhaled. "Then it is decided." He turned towards Sam Carter. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I officially welcome humanity to the Galactic Accord." The chamber erupted into applause. Sam, grinning like a man who had just gotten away with too much, tapped his communicator. Hey, Vasquez. We're in. From Earth. The general's voice crackled through. Damn right we are. Time to celebrate. Sam chuckled. Oh yeah, but first, he turned to the Chancellor. There's just one more thing. Oryxtal blinked. What? 1 hour later. The aftermath. If there was one universal truth about humans, it was this. They could turn literally anything into a party. And so, within the hour, Earth's first contact team had converted a section of the Galactic Council station into a makeshift festival. The Vraxian delegation had been forcibly gifted sunglasses and were now experiencing their first barbecue. A Tarkishan warrior was attempting a keg stand despite having 3 legs and no digestive system. The Vortari mathematician sat in a corner, staring blankly at a beer bottle, whispering, the math is meaningless. Chancellor Oryxtal, somehow roped into playing beer pong, sighed deeply as he flicked a ball into a red cup. This is diplomacy now. Sam, watching the chaos unfold, clapped a hand on the Chancellor's shoulder. See? You're going to love working with us. Oryxtal rubbed his temples. Ambassador Carter, in all my years, I have never seen a species like yours. He took a sip of his drink, sighed, and muttered, It's actually not bad. Sam grinned. Welcome to humanity, Chancellor.